Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Rest. In this video, I want to go over the seventh sense. If you don't know, a couple weeks ago, a lot of weapons actually received a buff, and this is one that also received one. It kind of went under the radar, but it got a 100% damage increase, which is a pretty substantial increase in damage, and I want to show you guys how it's performing now. Now, the thing is, with something like the seventh sense, when it first came out, it was one of the best weapons in the game. You could run this in a lot of different builds. It was super fun, and there's been a lot of changes that happens in Borderlands 3 since that Tom was around. And, now it just is kind of lacking, honestly. But that's why they went out and gave it a 100% damage buff. And I want to show you guys, again, what it's like now. All right, so if you don't actually know what the seventh sense does, when you essentially just shoot an enemy, it's going to spawn a little projectile above them. And when you reload, it will track them and do damage. So alone with the 100% damage buff, I can show you guys really quick the damage it's doing. And it's okay. Like, again, that's with no action skills active, no revolt or anything. That is just its base damage, and like it's at best. Like, it's not the greatest even with the buff. But now if we actually start using things like action skill, proc, and revolter, you're gonna see it actually does do a solid amount of damage. As you see, literally it killed him before the things even came back down, on the projectiles even came back down. We're going to shoot that guy right there. Again, it's literally killing them before the projectiles even come back down. We'll try to do it right here on this guy with revolter up. It's going to be hard on these, though, because you need to hit crits on those. And it's really hard to hit crits, obviously, because, you're not in control of where the bullets go. Because all the damage comes from the projectiles and not really the gun itself. But as you see, it's not bad. And again, this is on Athena's. But I'm going to talk about what I think the main problem is with a weapon like this. As you see, I do have Revolter proc right now, and it's literally not doing anything to this guy. And there are obviously going to be much, much better weapons you can use. But the reason I think this gun is actually pretty bad, and as you see, this is a level 72 version, it's just simply because it cannot get anoints on it. The Link, if you remember, had the same exact problem. It was an okay pistol, but the fact that it couldn't get anoints made it just nowhere as competitive as other options. And once the update came out where the Link actually started to receive annoyance, it became a top tier pistol. It was really, really good. And I really think this is where this gun is struggling as well. It's the fact that you just cannot receive an anoint on it. Imagine if you could have URAD or something like this, so you're doing cryo and radiation when those projectiles come back down. You're going to do a ton more damage. And at Mayhem 11 or Mayhem 10 at the end game, anoints matter so much on weapons. It can literally take a great weapon like this one used to be and make it bad. Now, another change that happened is also the fact that they changed the way elemental projectiles work. Before, if you stack a lot of elements up on your character, you could essentially make this thing shoot out so many projectiles with one bullet. One bullet could shoot out 3 projectiles at a time, 4, maybe even more. And then they would collapse on an enemy. And obviously 1 to 4, that ratio, if you have like a 6-7 round mag, it's going to be a ton of projectiles going on one enemy doing a lot of damage. But now that that's been changed or fixed, depending on how you want to look at it, it makes this gun just very, very lacking on what it used to be. And that kind of sucks, because this used to be one of my favorite weapons. It was a lot of people's favorite weapons. And just with that one simple change and the fact that it can't get annoyed, it's just nowhere as good as it used to be. But I will take this over to something like the Guardian Takedown and show you guys what it does over there. All right, so over here at the Guardian Takedown, as you can imagine, it's probably not going to be the greatest due to the fact that it was kind of slugging on Athena's. It did okay damage right there, but that was also with Revolter being procced. And yeah, like, it's just, we'll pop our axe skill to see what happens. Of course, when you do that, things like do harm is going to kick in, but this is armor right here. We'll see what the corrosive's doing. And it's doing pretty good on the armor, but we get down to the flesh, and you see it really, really starts to fall off compared to, like, literally any other weapon in the game. So I honestly just cannot recommend you ever using this. We'll do a fat active scale right here, and as you see, everything dies when you start taking in how absurd Taz Divine is. But alone, this gun is just really not that worth it. Now, this is also with me running a somewhat like decent build. Now I have weapon damage right here, Jacob's critical damage. I have a Jacob's company man on. Obviously Revolter is insane. This is the skill tree I'm using, and it's still just not performing how a lot of other weapons can perform in the game. Now if you do want to go out and get a level 72 version of the 7th sense, you can get this from the cold case quest from DLC 2. At the very end of the quest, this is going to be your reward. I honestly would not recommend doing that, because not only are you going to have to make a new character to go and get it, you're going to have to play through the whole DLC again just to receive this very weapon, and I wouldn't recommend it. But if you do want to try to trade with somebody, I do have a Discord if you guys would like to join that. And also, if you did enjoy or found this video helpful in any way, consider subscribing and dropping a like. It really helps me out and our community grow by getting these videos out there for everyone to see. I truly appreciate it. But thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.